Good week. This Wednesday, for the 33rd, 326th time, we will be celebrating the anniversary of the giving of the Torah. There are lots of things to talk about when we talk about the anniversary of the giving of the Torah. But I want to respond to a letter sent to me by Mark Johnson, who didn't give me his email, and asked me several questions. Number one, he asked me about the Genesis story, that there appears to be contradictions between the two Genesis stories in the book of Genesis, and there appears to be contradictions in the Noah discussion. In truth, there are no contradictions. They can all be explained very easily, and all one has to do, seriously, is to read some of the commentaries by Rashi, Ramban, and there exists an entire literature of other commentaries that are very, very thorough and make a very, very compelling case. There are no contradictions in the Genesis story. There are different details that go over for various purposes, which can be discussed one-on-one or when one asks a question. There are just too many issues to deal with. But I can tell you that in the Genesis story, initially we're talking about how the process went from light to creation of man, and then the discussion of what happened with man when man appeared. Creation of the animals preceded man. Man was brought the animals. They were there before. The creation of vegetation was there. It just hadn't sprouted until man was there to ask for rain, to ask for the blessing of rain. Trees were placed by God in the Garden of Eden before man came. There are no contradictions, and any discussion that one wishes to have can have with me on a particular one-on-one basis. So Mark Johnson, this is my challenge to you. My cell number is 248-613-1809. If you wish to discuss any of your questions, I am perfectly willing to discuss each one with you, but there is no generic answer for all of the things that you quote about. I will say one thing. Regarding evidence of the presence of the patriarchs, how much evidence do you really need? There are multiple people who were discovered to have the name Ibrahim, and Ishaq, and Jacob. And that indicates that this was a tradition to name children after great people. And these names weren't taken out of a hat. They were taken because of stories about those great people. There is the graves of these people in the Marat HaMachpelah in Hebron. Where exactly the graves lie, it's a different story, different question. But in that cemetery, we know that that's the location of the patriarchs. We have physical evidence for many of the things that took place in the Tanakh, including the altar of Joshua on Mount Ebal. These discoveries are tangible discoveries that were found by non-religious archaeologists. The problem is the leftist press, together with a man by the name of Israel Finkelstein, does not want to accept tangible evidence as evidence. Eilat Mazar found King David's palace, discovered all different kinds of buildings that corroborate the writings of the prophets. What do the left-wingers press and the Israel intelligentsia, they can't accept this. So they have to make a full court press against what is tangible evidence, actual archaeological evidence of the presence of Jews, exactly as the prophets state. Every time Finkelstein, I'm tempted to say Yimach Shmei, says something that nothing has been found and discovered, Eilat Mazar finds it 6 months later. This is not a game, but the left and their lackeys in the intelligentsia over and over again deny what is physical evidence. So if you deny physical evidence and you deny the history of the Jewish people vis-a-vis the Bible, then of course there's no corroborating evidence because you've denied all the evidence. Why is it that when you in evaluating Egyptian history, do you accept the hieroglyphics and the writings of the historians of the Egyptians, and at the same time the writings of the historians of the Jewish people, the prophets, the judges, the Tanaim? Why do you discount them? The answer is because you don't want to. It's got nothing to do with truth. So again, 248-613-1809 is my cell number. I'll be happy to discuss it with you over Skype. Chaim.Bergstein is my Skype address. Until then, Mark, rest assured, there's plenty of proof. And the Bible is very plausible. And so is Jewish tradition. Have a good week.